Good morning. Green light. Look at my hair. I got a haircut. It looks like I'm a maniac. I am a little bit of a maniac. Let's go post this link for today's broadcast on the website. Website is jollyrogerukulele.com. And this is the foundations class, which is in the middle of the front page of Jolly Roger Ukulele. And today we are playing Amazing Grace, and we will be talking about minimizing your motion. So, a very rather helpful tool for musicians. Since we got plenty to do, and the less we have to do, the more likely we will be successful. Alright, so let me scroll down here. Double check that the link is working. Right there. Amazing. That's from, I was like, who says amazing? That's Kim's Convenience. All right, so there's that. We're posted on the website. That'll mean everybody come rushing in here in a minute. Let me go post it on Twitter. I post on Twitter mostly because I have been told, or at least back in the day it was actually true, you want your website to be on multiple platforms so they know you're for real. Jolly Roger. Like I have several websites that I do testing on, and because I've never posted them anywhere, they never show up in any searches. But and that would make sense, right? So I post on Twitter because I just have this notion that Google's probably checking Twitter once in a while. Foundations number, is this less than 18? It is less than 18. Tweet. All right, tweet. All right, there we go. We have tweeted, and I can close out Twitter now. And yeah, so we're playing Amazing Grace today, and it'll be fun. And let me close this box down. Linda has made it in. It's freezing down in Colorado Springs. I'm going to check. It was 39 up here a little while ago in Denver. I think it's gone down. We're having, those of you who don't know, here in Colorado, we're having a very cloudy, cold, crummy day today, and we're supposed to get a little bit of snow tonight. And it is now still 39 degrees, so that's going to be the high for the day. 39 degrees, and we're headed down. They're saying 6 inches up north, 6 inches on the west side of town. I don't know what they're, I didn't pay attention, Linda. Colorado Springs headed for a little bit of, they're saying 1 to 3 inches in Denver, which usually means 1 inch in Denver, or that usually means down here in downtown that we just get a dusting on the grass. But we'll take whatever, right? But it is a day. It's a sleep in and take a nap kind of day. Let's see, Michelle in from beautiful Rockaway Beach up in Oregon. She's having a beautiful sunny day. So Michelle is winning so far. Q is in. Yeah, Q, I heard you guys were having a really nice weather up there in NoCal. I'm glad to have you in, Q. Good to see you. Janice in from Scotland, popping in for Amazing Grace. Sunny deer and seals on my cycle. Oh, how exciting. Janice, that sounds positively wonderful. Sunny deer, seals on the sun. How wonderful. Just exciting, right? Just driving your bicycle through Scotland. How much better. That is the best life ever. Nancy in from Florida, 84 degrees, partly sunny. Sound is good. Life is good. Good to see you, Nancy. Glad you're here. It's the fog, Linda says. Yeah, we're cloudy. I don't know. I think we're just cloudy. I don't know if I'd call that fog. It's pretty cruddy out there. Mary, crummy is right. Mary's on the west side of town. She's going to get 4 or 5 inches out there tonight. Jody, welcome in. Why are you called Jolly Roger? You want to know why? Here's why. There is a reason. So, my thing is, and this will sound funny, my deal is 1926. 1926 is anything that's 1926 or older is in the public domain. And I don't have to worry about copyright. I don't have to call any lawyers. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to worry about it at all. If every piece of music I played was 1926 or older, I would be a very happy person. But because of Disney and that stupid mouse, 1926 and newer, all that stuff's under copyright. Now, the problem with that is that it gets super murky super fast about what they care about and what they don't. They don't seem to care two hoots about sheet music, which is the main thing I do, so I'm usually fine. But they care a whole lot if you perform it and make any money off it. Then they're going to be calling you up, right? And so there's all this, and it just has always irritated the crud out of me. I'm a teacher. I teach people how to play ukulele. I should not have to sit here and be in a panic. Oh my gosh, we're going to play Simon and Garfunkel on the internet today. I hope their lawyers don't call me up, And I do have to worry about that. And on YouTube, if I do that, I get this copyright notice thing on there. And if I was monetizing my account, which I'm not because I don't know if I believe in it, they don't pay you because you have violated the copyright. And it just makes me so angry, not angry. I mean, it just is a system that's not right. I mean, I want people who I want Simon and Garfunkel to make some money for their efforts, but I don't want their lawyer calling me because I teach you guys how to play my arrangement of their song. That's crazy, but that's the world we live in, and lawyers make a lot of money off of that. So everything I do, almost everything I do, I look at what's public domain. What can I get that's not public, that I don't have to worry about. And when I got ready to name this website, I was like, well, what do I want to do? And I just started doing public domain searches, and the pirate flag, the Jolly Roger pirate flag came up. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I could have a skull. And so I bought this website many years before I was actually using it. I was using it as a testing site for stuff we do on the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra website. And so here it is, having this site and kind of messing around with it, and I had made a little bit of stuff for the website, pretty much just testing it on this website before I put it over there. Well, then the pandemic hit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a website like right now. And I says, well, I've already got that Jolly Roger site. It's already got a logo because it's got a skull with these little ukuleles on here. I spent an afternoon designing that, and I thought, oh shoot, that's good enough. Well, I'll just use that for the website. And in my head, as in all of our heads, we thought, well, here's the pandemic. We're going to go lock down for 3 weeks, and then we'll be done, and then we can move on. And that was what was in my head when I put this program onto that website. Well, at this point, we're sort of stuck with it. And so that's why it's Jolly Roger, because the pirate flag, which is a real thing, is from 1760 or something like that. And I didn't have to worry about copyright. I just took it, created my own logo, and blah blah blah, and here you are today. That's why it's Jolly Roger. So yeah, it's a goofy set of circumstances that's caused that to be this way. Let's see. Oh yeah, Mary points out it doesn't matter what the weather's like outside. We have our ukuleles. Yeah. So that's why it's that way, Jody. I just kind of like that skull guy on the top, because on the pirate flag he's got swords like that, right? And I just took the swords off and put ukuleles on. All right, there we go. So thanks for asking, Jody. Jan is in. Jolly Roger is just the name of the flag that the pirates used. They called it a Jolly Roger. Yeah, and I don't think there's any I don't think there's any more meaningful history behind that phrase, Jolly Roger. I don't think. It's a great question, Jody. I don't know why they call it Jolly Roger. I know it's called the Jolly Roger, but I don't necessarily know if I know why it's called the Jolly Roger. So, yeah, fascinating. Jody's asking the tough questions, people. Be more like Jody. All right. Amazing Grace. Guys, here's the thing. It's just been sort of surprising the last couple of months how often I hear Amazing Grace being performed in public. Like, this is a song that people use when they want to be solemn and serious and all this. As most of you know, it's a church song, but it's one of these songs that shows up in life, and it's lovely to have it on ukulele. But my job here today is not really to teach you Amazing Grace. That's not really the purpose. What the real purpose today is to get you thinking about how little work that you can do to get the results you're after. Now, we talk. This is, ukulele gives a couple of life lessons. One of them is you need to change your strings once in a while, Gary. And this lovely ukulele with these worn out strings on it. The problem is that when I finally get over to the studio, I have to change everybody else's strings, and then I get bored when it's time to change my own, so I don't. Rob in 63 degrees and sunny. How you doing, buddy? Danny made it in. How exciting, Danny. Good to see you. Blackbeard Edward Teach gave the Masonic logo that name when he used it on his ship. Oh, there we go. Thank God Danny's around to straighten us out. I guess the skull is always smiling, jolly. Yeah, right? He's a nice skull. It's not that scary of a skull. I remember about, let's see, when we went into lockdown in March, I think in April or May, Elizabeth, who's a musician I've been working with for many years, she sends me a note and she says, I'm so tired of all this negativity about this pandemic. Can you change the Jolly Roger logo? She says, I don't like that skull. It's too negative. I says, well, I can't change the logo. That requires hours to make up a new logo. So I'll just make it pink. And so for a while we had the Jolly Roger logo as pink, and it was fine. Now, let's get focused. All right. Jolly Roger, can you imagine people sometimes every now and then somebody will be looking for a song and they'll be like, oh, I want to learn how to play Amazing Grace on ukulele. And they will tune into this broadcast and here we are 15 minutes and I haven't said a word about it. All right. I know, it's terrible. Amazing Grace. Okay. The real life lesson here is do the least amount of work possible to get the result. In music, when you're a new student, you're like, I'm going to do everything. I want to play all the songs. I want to really get good. And you throw all of these expectations and all of this into this huge ball of certain failure, and then you jump into the ball, and of course it all explodes on you. So what we want to do is we want to say, we have a G chord, we have a C chord, we have a D7 chord. If we do the least amount of work possible, this song is going to come out and it's going to be lovely. And that's the process we want to take into everything we do. We want to break it down into pieces, figure out what the least amount of work we need to do with, and then do that, rather than trying to make it complicate things. So let's grab a G chord. Dun, 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 dun. And baritone players, you can grab your D chord, okay? And we're thinking about, all right, how do I get to a C chord from here? Dunk. Okay? And I don't need to do anything weird with these two fingers. Just drop down there, right? So if I'm in G and I just drop down here, notice I'm leaving these where they are ready to attack when it's time. So the one thing I noticed with newer players, and I was the same way, it was we have a tendency to go, there's my G chord. Okay, now I'm going to put a C chord on. Right? And then we waste all this energy and time and muscles and calories taking everything off and putting stuff back on. In this case, your C chord is right there, right? So that's how much work you need to do to get your C chord on. Okay, and you'll notice if you ever watch me playing more advanced material, sometimes my hand is all over the place because I'm busy fishing around for stuff and I'm wasting all kinds of energy. When you watch me play something that I've played for a long time or is maybe a little bit more playable or something that I know a little better, my hand doesn't move around near as much as on a less known piece, because I know, hey man, I go from here, I go to here. I'm not going to work any harder than that, because I get the result I need. Okay, then to get back to G, of course, you haven't ever really lost these fingers. They're still hanging on there. Just put it back on. So the less is more. The other thing I see, and I see this mostly on television shows when they have somebody that's going to play the ukulele, and it's always in a comedy skit, right? But they will teach the actor how to play ukulele 5 seconds before the scene, and inevitably they either have their pinky sticking way out like this, right, which is not at all helpful, because you're creating all this tension in your arm and your hand, and it's just going to wear you out sooner. Or the other one I see a lot is people will twist this guy up like this, where this is super cramped up, and we don't want any of that going on. We want all your fingers nice and round, least amount of work possible. Okay, that's what we'd like to have happening there. So less is more. Now, when you get to measure 7 and you're on this G chord, look where D7 is. Hang out right there. Okay? And so you really look how the entire song can be played with from here to here, back to here, up to here, back to here. That's it. There's so little motion here. By having less motion here, you're more likely to get it right, and that allows you to have more thought process going into what's going on over here. So on ukulele, let's play this. Baritone players, your G chord is this one, okay? Your C chord is this one, dun, 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 and your D7 is that one. Okay, so play along with us real quick on the ukulele form. 1, 2. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Okay, so that's your amazing grace. Almost no motion going on, almost nothing happening over here. So I want you to be paying attention to yourself when you're playing. When you get to a new chord, are you yanking everything off and then putting everything back on, or are you just trying to do the least amount of work to create that next moment? And sometimes you do have to pull everything off, right? If you go to playing a C chord and you got to get over to a G7, you don't have a whole lot of choice. But I do want you, as much as possible, keep your fingers rounded, hanging out above your fretboard. And overall, it's going to reduce the amount of work you have to do, and you'll have plenty of work to do as a musician. So let's not well compensated work, but you will have plenty to keep you busy. So let's keep chords, our left hand thoughts, to let's do the least amount possible to get the effect that we're going for. Now, that's the melody. That's the chords. Okay. So now let's look at the melody. Okay, melodies, I see 2s, I see 3s, and I see 5s, right? As I'm looking through that, I see 2s, I see 3s, and I see 5s. So it doesn't make sense, guys, going back to Yankee Doodle, it doesn't make sense to play in first position because there are no 1s, and my pinky is not sitting above 5. So I'm going to end up doing a bunch of moving around that I don't need to do. If I just move up to second position, now my index will play the 2s, my middle plays the 3s, ring, there are no 4s, and my pinky's sitting on 5. Now I'm not even going to have to move. I'm going to just hang out here, and it's going to be, again, less is more. Let's play the melody. 1, 2. 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. Oh, 3, oh, 2, 2, 3. 2, 3, 2, oh, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 5, 2, 3, 2, oh, 3, oh, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, oh, 3. Hey, Valerie, welcome in. Made it back. Phew. All right, let's play it one more time. Look how little motion you had to do to pull that off. Let's start from the top. 1, 2. 2, 3. 2, 3, 2. Oh, 3. Oh, 2. 3, 2. Oh, 5, 2, 3, 1, 2. 2, 5, 2, 3, 2. Oh, 3. Oh, 2. 2, 3. 2, 3, 2. Oh, 3. Okay, hardly anything going on over here, which is really exciting. Janice says, my pinky isn't straight. It's got an annoying curve. All right, so let's talk about that. How many of you have had injuries in your life that resulted in a bone being broken or fractured, and you've got now an appendage that's on crooked? Or how many of us are in the age group where your hands used to be, model caliber? You used to be a hand model for diamond rings, and now your knuckles are all knurled up, and your fingers are going all every which way crazy, like it's like they're trying to escape from a fire. They're all just crazy. That is part of the, I think, the joy, I don't know if that's the right word, of teaching ukulele and teaching these teaching instruments, is that, yeah, I can give you the basics, right? Here's this, but then you also have your own personal architecture on your hands, and for some people, it's more difficult than others. We talk about bar chords all the time. My knuckle right here, this knuckle right here, is just busy in the process of getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Which makes doing bar chords harder and harder and harder. So I'm having to make some adjustments to my bar chords as this knuckle continues to turn into a maniac. And that's part of the process. I have another student, she plays guitar with me, and man, her pinky finger is just in there crazy like that. And so over the years, we've been trying to work on finding ways to straighten it out. It's never going to be straight, and so we find adaptive ways to deal with that situation. But rejoice in the fact that everybody's hands are a little bit crazy, a little bit different, and then I give you the basics, and then you see how they work, and then you may have to make certain modifications. One time I taught a guy, I taught him for a while, he was missing this finger, right? I've taught one young lady, she didn't stay around very long, but she didn't have a thumb, right? And so we worked on, she was a singer, so she didn't really need to stay around very long, but she had been born without a thumb, and so we just learned on working a whole different program with her fingers. So yeah, so it's one of those things where you do have your architecture of your hand, and it is going to create some nuanced ways you approach it. If everybody had 16-year-old hands that were just perfect and everything is great about them, then we wouldn't have this conversation. But that's not the way it is, right? So give yourself some opportunity when you have something where your finger's not going to do something. Start thinking about, all right, now I've got a problem solve around the issues with that. Thanks for bringing that up, Janice, by the way. For me, my pinky's just a tiny bit too short. The rest of my hands are fine. I can deal with it. My knuckles are getting bigger. That's becoming more of an issue. But my pinky is a little bit shorter than I wish it was. If it was about a half an inch longer, I'd be able to reach it just on that extra fret that I needed to. And so, especially when I'm playing on a full-size guitar, my pinky's always just wearing out because I'm pushing it so hard. All right, now, we've talked minimal motion. We're about to do this whole song. And we're going to do the tough uke. We'll walk all the way through it, and baritone players will then come and play the exact same thing for you. But grab your G chord, okay? Always in tough uke, start with holding your chord and see how many notes you're holding down. Watch this. If I'm holding a G chord, first note's a 2. Pluck that. Next note, 0, 2, 3. I'm already holding them down. Strum that. Next note's a 2 and a 3, and I'm holding both of those down just by holding the chord. Next note, 0, 2, 3, 2. That's a G chord. Strum that. Now I have a 0, and I'm holding a 2 on that string, so I want to lift up my middle finger, not far, just enough to get it off. Hit the 0. And then it says 0, 0, 3. And look, this is on the 2, so I got to get him out of the way, lift him up, but he's already hanging out on the right string. So now 0, 0, 3. And then the next one's a 0 on where my 3 is. Lift that up. Now notice, just by grabbing the G chord, I was able to play all the way through that to that moment. I now have no fingers on the strings, but my hand is hanging out, getting ready to go back to do some more work. And then measure 4 is a G chord. Put that G chord right back on. Okay, let's do some more. Hit the 2 again. Measure 5, 0, 2, 3. And then middle finger's in the right place, so play that. Ring finger's fine. 0, 2, 3, 2, that's what I'm holding, strum it down. Got that 0 again, lift up your middle finger, leave the other 2 in place. And then you got a mess, right? 2, 2, 2, 5, all right? So your index finger's hanging out here. It's got to make that bar right there. And then look, my pinky magically is sitting right above that 5. This is not uncommon. When you stick a bar chord on, very often your pinky is going to be right where it needs to be. So now I'm holding 2, 2, 2, all the 2s, and this 5. Strum that. Okay, that looks super scary with those ties on there, but just know when we have those big swooshes, those are ties, and what those are doing is taking the value of the first note and adding it to the value of the second note. So your first note's a dotted half note, that's worth 3 beats, and then the second measure 8 is a dotted half note, and that's worth 2 beats. Okay, did I say dotted? A regular half note. Dotted half note tied to a regular half note. Total amount of beats is 5 beats. So I strum that 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're ready to go. Now, my next note's a 2, and my bar's still on 2. So this would be a time just to take my pinky off, play it with the bar. Okay. Then the next note, measure 9. It's a G chord. So I got to abandon my bar, put my G chord on, and then I got to get my pinky up here on 5. Now for some of you guys, we talked about hand architecture just a little bit ago. This can be quite a bit in the beginning, holding your G chord and putting your pinky on here, especially if you're on baritone when you're making a D chord and putting your pinky on here. It's quite a reach, okay? So I want you to work on it. If this isn't going to happen, okay, you're allowed to replace your middle and ring fingers. Okay, so get rid of your ring finger and put your middle finger there. And so you're allowed to do that. This is going to cause you more work down the road than if you just held the G chord with your pinky. But if that's not going to happen, try doing index, middle, and pinky. Okay, and it works just fine. I'd much rather have you have a G chord with your pinky there. Strum that. Okay, then take your pinky off, and not far, don't lose it, right? Just, I always say lose it, but just lift it up a smidge. And then 2, 3, you're already holding them down by holding that G chord. And then another full G chord, 0, 2, 3, 2. Okay, middle finger up for the 0. Index finger up for the 0, 0, 3. Ring finger off for the 0. And then grab your G chord again. 2, 3, and then you're already holding the 2, 3 down. Now, every time before this we've played a G chord, but this one has a D7, and to pull that off on tough uke, you just do 2, 2, 2, 2, because the melody's a 2. So just put a bar on 2. Take your whole bar back off, and put your G chord back on. Okay, so I'm really playing this fairly slow and fairly methodically to really get you thinking about what's the least amount of work I can do note to note. Okay, so that way we're not pulling everything off and then putting everything back on, but we're basically leaving everything on until we have to take it off. And that will make your playing more cohesive. If the problem in the beginning is play a chord, take it off, and you're like, oh, I should have left that on. Play another chord, take it off. Oh, I got to do this one, right? And everything feels very broken up and tentative. But if you don't, just let your fingers hang out until you have to move them, what will happen? Your ukulele will keep ringing, and it'll have a little more continuity in this overall sound that it makes, and you'll like it a lot better. All right, now about to play Amazing Grace. Okay, one story from my professional life. I have played a lot of weddings and I have played a lot of funerals. If you have a choice, you want to play funerals. Here's why. Nothing makes you feel like death more than the mother of the bride. And so if you're going to be around, misery like that, you might as well be around the funeral, because the guy laying in the coffin, he sounds wonderful. You should hear what people have to say about him. It just sounds lovely. And when you go to do weddings, you're dealing with the mother of the bride. The bride wants some stupid song you've never heard of ever, and so you got to go learn that song. and they pay you about $350. And the only person you like that day, the only person who was any fun at all, is the father of the bride, and you as the musician are the smallest check he's going to write that day, so he loves you, right? So you and the father of the bride get along just fine, but the whole rest of the thing, and there's all the, you got to go to the rehearsal, you got to do all this stuff. It's just really labor intensive. And frankly, half the time you're playing a wedding, it's a friend of yours, right? And you're not getting paid anything. You get dinner. But if you go to a funeral, the food is just as good, honestly. And people are lovely, and they want you to be there, and they want you to play Amazing Grace, Love Me Tender, and Over the Rainbow. That's it. That's all that they want, right? And so you don't have to learn any new songs. And they're not going to say, play me Blink 50, what is it, Blink 128 or whatever. But I'm trying to pick a band. I don't know. They're not going to ask you to play Lady Gaga at a funeral, right? And you don't have to go learn a Lady Gaga song. At a wedding, they will. Well, 500 Miles, is that the song we did? I had to do that several times. So, funerals, good. Weddings, bad. There. All right, let's play this. This is one of the songs you'll need to learn to play to do funerals. Here we go. From the top, nice and slow. Try to minimize your motion. 1, 2. Isn't that lovely? It's a really, really pretty song. A funeral is... Well, yeah, I'm telling you the truth. Not only that, in my experience, you actually get paid better to play the funerals because they feel guilty for asking you, right? Oh, I hate to ask you, but my dad loved ukulele. Would you mind coming and how much do you charge? That kind of thing. Wedding, it's well, our wedding is tomorrow, and we need somebody to come play, and they want a Hawaiian theme, and we want this random song from this random band for you to play that. All right, yeah. Weddings are a time of joy for everybody except the musician. All right, one more time, and then we'll play the baritone version. Okay, 14th measure is so pretty. Isn't that fascinating? It's fascinating how many people, and Jan's not the only one who's ever brought that up. It's a D7, okay? But your melody note's a 2, okay? So you could do it with this open string, but I went ahead and put it at this string. And it's really gorgeous on the ukulele. And what's going on there, guys, goes right back to Spaghetti Monster. Remember when we played 0000? That's a C6. When you play 2 it's a D6. Okay. Now it says D7, but that's just because I have given you the singing part. If you're singing it, you want to play a D7, but if you're doing it instrumentally, you can kind of jazz it up just a smidge. Right there, you go. Gary, have you ever seen a harplele? I've seen so many weird ukuleles. I might have seen it, Danny, but I don't necessarily. No images are jumping to my mind as to what that would be. Over the years, I think I've seen every kind of crazy ukulele that somebody's made up, but nothing jumps to mind on that one. I'll look it up. I think that's funny, Danny. Yeah, there's a bunch of people will put ukulele necks on all sorts of stuff. All right, one last time, and then we'll play the baritone, and then we'll be done for today. 1, 2. 2. that's what I have to say about Amazing Grace. Always be thinking about what is the least amount of work you can do, because if you are letting your fingers just hang out on your fretboard for the longest period of time, those notes have the opportunity to ring for the longest amount of time. And when we play it on baritone, you'll really hear how doing less work results in a better result, because these strings I'm just going to leave my fingers down as long as possible, and these strings, they just keep ringing along and slowly decaying, rather than when you lift up your fingers, you stop the sound of the string, and that creates a little bit more of a jumpy feel to the song. And a song like that, you want it to be soft and beautiful and smooth. And okay, so here we go. Same story. Oh, and guys, if you have ukuleles, grab the baritone version of this, and let's talk about your chords, and you can join me. Amazing Grace, baritone. So ukulele, you got a D chord, index, middle, and ring all in the same second fret. Okay, your G chord, you know your G chord, it's way down here. Okay, and then your A7 is right here. Now, thinking about the least amount of work possible, if I'm on ukulele and I need to play a D chord, my second chord is a G7, probably going to lead with my middle finger. Make sure my middle finger gets on that bottom string, and then the rest of my G will jump on there, right? So be thinking about which finger am I leading with. In this case, middle finger, index finger, ring finger, and most of the time you'll lead with your index finger, but in this case it makes so much more sense to have your middle finger hit where it's supposed to be, and then the other guys jump on. To get back, of course, you're going to lead with your index finger, because it's get on that top string, and then these guys jump on there. Okay, and then your A7, you've got your middle finger, you just slide it back, and there's your A7. Okay, slide it back up to get your D. Okay, so again, strategizing around the least amount of work possible, and I think you'll be, it helps you be one up on the competition. Okay, now baritone players, your D chord, your G chord, your A7, same shapes as ukulele, just a different key. From the top, same thing, nice and slow. Let the strings ring. Do the least amount of as possible over here. 1, 2. Yeah, and then if you have an opportunity to perform that with somebody, then you start talking about, do we do it one time through? Do we do it a couple of times through? Do you play melody and I play chords? Am I the only one that's showing up to this deal? But you could take this basic piece of music and do whatever you want with it. Hopefully at home, if you're on ukulele, you were thinking, let me get this. I'll do D chord. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, right? Or amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Or you could do amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Right? So you're thinking about right hand things, or how about boom chuck? Let's see. I wonder what that sounds like. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. A little get of a carnival feel to Amazing Grace. Yeah, it's a fun piece of music, and it's really beautiful. And I was surprised, this during the presidential stuff that was going on here in America, they were being all serious about everything, and about I think Garth Brooks played it, and then there's somebody else I saw singing it, and in my mind, I'm like, seriously, Amazing Grace? They don't even have to practice to play that one. Play something harder. That's the old school. All right, guys, that's Amazing Grace. We got to talk about tomorrow. Okay, let's talk about that very briefly. Tomorrow we have Braum's Lullaby. Look at how far we've come in 1 week. Okay, this week we started Braum's Lullaby, which we built off of the C, F, and G chords, right? And that's probably of the 3 songs, or well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. It's probably the easiest song of the week, but it's pretty hard, right? So spend a little bit of time tonight just reviewing Braum's Lullaby. Yankee Doodle, similar skill set, but it has a bar chord in the middle of it, remember? And here you go with Amazing Grace. We have another song with a bar chord in the middle of it. The hard song of the week was Key of C arpeggio, or G on baritone, right? So spend a little bit of time reviewing that. We'll play through that as written, 2 times on page 1 and 1 time on page 2 for both instruments, both the ukulele and the baritone. How should I put this? It's a good idea for you guys, if you're a ukulele player, to pull your baritone music up and handwrite in what the chords are, and use your resources. You've got a lot of resources available to help you figure out what those chord shapes are, so that when you play along with me, if I'm playing the baritone version of something and you're playing, your ukulele chords on that, it gives you a chance to get to hear what playing a true duet is going to be like. And so I always have you guys, not always, but most of the pieces of music, I want you to go do the work to find those chords, because I think it's good for you. I think it helps you work your resources a little bit. And once you get to foundations, it's the expectation that you'll go find your own chords. But in the beginning, I give you a few of them in the beginning, but then the first songs here, like we did a lot in C with C, F, and G this week. So go find out what the baritone equivalent of those are, or the ukulele equivalent of those on the other piece of music, as you can tell. And then today we started in Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is actually in the key of G, or D for baritone, so we're actually starting to study a new key here, and we'll talk about it a little bit more next week. And then finally, remember, we'll start tomorrow off with your Make a Better Bar worksheet, just going all the way down and all the way back, because now you see why I was making a big deal out of doing thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, and then when you come back, ring, middle, index, thumb. That way you're getting those skill sets in place, so that when you get to the key of C arpeggio, you already have some experience getting your fingers to spider web along like that, and theoretically, then all of that stuff is sort of just building on each other, and suddenly you're playing amazing stuff. So there we go. That's the plan for tomorrow. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for all of you guys for being here, and I will see all y'all tomorrow. If you want to come to next hour, I forget the names of the songs we're doing. Cielito Lindo and Jarabe Tapatio. If you know the Mexican hat dance song, that's Jarabe Tapatio. That's that song. We're going to be doing that. Both of the songs in next hour are not brutal, not terrible. You probably play the melodies on those. You can definitely play the chords on those. So if you got nothing better to do next hour, come to that. And that's what I know. Okay. Let's see, where'd I leave off? Oh, Warren made it in. Good to see you, Warren. Linda's here. Sorry it was late. That's okay. The Rastafarian beat. I'm not sure what that is, but it's most reggae music emphasizes beat 2 very heavily, which it's an interesting thought, because mostly in music we don't worry about beat 2, but Rasta music emphasizes beat 2 a lot, which is kind of interesting. Let's see, Mary, I'm actually starting to get better on my 3rd run through the class. Well, I hope, right? I mean, the goal here is, as long as you're better than you were 6 months ago, that's all I care about. If you can look at yourself and say, you know what, doing better than I was 6 months ago, then we're doing the right thing, right? It doesn't matter how many times you take this class. You're gonna find that enough reading through the material and practicing and playing with me, the things start to feel very familiar after a while. And yeah, you darn well will get better. I offer a money back guarantee that if you'll stick with me, you will get better. All right, Jan, good to see you. Rob, got my text ready for tomorrow. Nice. What's tomorrow? Oh yeah. I'm like, what's happening tomorrow? Is he going to a wedding? Yeah, you guys got to dress up for concert. Yeah, here in Denver for our May concert, I make them wear concert black. So everybody has to wear nice shoes and black. Everything has to be black and blah, blah, blah. Make them look very professional. And then for Christmas, I tell them they have to dress festive. And of course, there's always there's people who show up in the weirdest stuff, and you're like, what are you doing? And they're like, you said we could dress festive. And I'm like, oh, brother. So be careful what you let musicians do. And Nancy, good to see you. Thanks, everyone. Gary, I'll see you next hour. Awesome. All right, you guys. I'll pull the plug. Yeah, a little bit of time to practice this and before the end of the hour. And double check that you got all your music ready for tomorrow. Rob's wearing a tux, so try to keep up with Rob. And I will see all y'all tomorrow. And there we go. Have a great day.